And we're live. Hello everyone, this is Dwight Woods, Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the FMA Files episode number 3 with me and my good friend Dean Franco, who is Dean's volunteered to turn the tables and question me. So when he comes on, we'll see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into. Right? Okay, so let me say hello to who's here. Daniel Ariola, Robert Zabo, Tony Tacle. Hey Tony, how you doing? Dave Earl is here. Carla Arce is here. Joshua Richards. All right. So, well, for those, hey Daryl White, those of you who, if you guys could say where you're logging in from, and go ahead and hit the like button. And feel free to hit the like button as we proceed with this episode. Hey Carla, okay, so you guys are coming in fast and furious, and it's hard for me to keep up with you and say hello to everybody. I think I saw I saw a picture of my namesake, Dwight. Dwight, I forget your last name. Dave Earl's here. Joshua Richard, Andrew Dash, Sifu Randy's back. Hector Solis, nice one. All right, so we'll just wait for Mr. Franco to get on here. Hey George Johnson, how's everything? Daniel says he's from Houston, Texas, basically. All right, Kevin Taylor. Good. All right. Well, so you guys are here early, so let me just tell you this. We're just gonna go. Well, it depends on how much questioning Dean has for me. But when all you guys know that I get like the 20% power left, and then I get the 10% power, and that means that we got like 15 minutes. Dean and I are just gonna go until the runs out. So there's not going to be, right? If he has that many questions for me, or if I talk that much, who knows what will happen, right? Okay, so let's get the show on the road.
All right.
All right.
So everything.
Let's
you
check
can hear
the
me?
audio.
Okay.
I can't hear him, so that means I got to change headsets. But I might just do this. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, all right. So there's something up with this particular headset. All right, well, you don't hear any echoes or anything, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay, cool. All right, then we'll do it this way. And
Okay.
just before you got here, I was telling the audience that I have no idea how many questions you have for me. I have no idea how long this is going to take, but if we have to, we'll just keep going until the power on my phone goes dead.
Actually, one of the things I was saying, I was going to pull a seafood Dwight, like with Paul Bunak. That if I don't get through everything, would you entertain a part 2, assuming I don't get through everything?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Because I definitely have a list of questions, but these things kind of take their own path. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So. But done so much for the community.
Yeah.
And I feel somebody should be giving back to you.
Okay. All right. So everybody say hello to Dean Franco. Some of you will remember him from an episode of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. Full disclosure, Dean and I get together very often and on Skype, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. So.
And they're excellent sessions. I highly recommend anybody who wants to improve their teaching or their content, or how to improve, teaching it and bringing it to their students and all that. So I've enjoyed them immensely.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, thank you.
So let's rock and roll.
Okay. So I guess, just starting from the beginning, I have I knew you grew up in Barbados and all that.
Right.
You were at some, what martial arts were you trained there before you made your trips to California?
So, like everybody else, I started with, you know, going to the kung fu movies, then going home and repeating what you saw in the kung fu movies.
Did you practice the limb syncing? All right.
No, we were into the acting. We were into the action. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was the start, and then
Okay.
and then we saw the Big Boss,
Oh,
and immediately realized that Bruce Lee's method, even on camera, was completely different. I don't recall if I immediately put him together with Kato. I don't recall, because I know that I saw the Green Hornet, but I think in Barbados, Batman was more popular than the Green Hornet.
yeah.
You know?
See, I'm not, you know, what's funny? Like, I remember it was like an after thing with me, like, you know, because I was young then. Like, I know it absolutely occurred back in, but I never saw it or knew about it until like the 90s.
Oh, really?
You know? Yeah. It just, you know, I knew he was in movies, of course, because I saw the movies,
Right.
but it wasn't until later I found out about Green Hornet.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, that's what happens when you're young. Me, I'm 453 years old, so.
Oh, well, hey, you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was it. And then because I felt kind of isolated, you know, just doing a lot of stuff on my own, I actually joined one of the less classical and traditional school on the island, an outfit called Wushu Kwan, and I had a good time there, but it was short-lived because I kept bringing up Bruce Lee like every week that I went to class. And
so was this by virtue of the movies that you had seen? You wanted?
No, I just wanted people to interact with.
Okay.
You know, because I had a couple of friends who would come over to the house, and we would work out together, but there was really no structure to it, you know,
Okay.
until I started getting magazines and you know, Bruce Lee's books and what have you, and then that was structured.
So and what age were you about?
Who knows?
So, but okay. So then my next is, what prompted you to, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to California.
Okay.
Like, what started that?
Okay. So after Big Boss, like I said before, Bruce Lee forced me to grow up when it came to Kung Fu, because he was not fancy as compared to all the Shaolin guys that we were in love with. This was something different. This was a much more streamlined approach. And so even though it wasn't flashy and fancy, I said to myself, there's something here. And that's when I became a follower. And so for a significant number of years, I trained myself from every piece of Bruce Lee material I could get my hands on.
God, it sounds like me in illustration.
Yeah, right. And then in 1980, that was my first trip to Seattle.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, well, that's interesting. I didn't realize you went to Seattle first. Oh.
Well, it was. I didn't go to Seattle. I mean, partially I went to Seattle because that's where Bruce Lee was, but I had made some friends from Seattle, and and there was a hiatus from my job, so I went up to Seattle for like 3 months or something, right?
So you stayed with friends up there? And...
Yeah.
Okay.
I stayed with friends. I trained with Jesse Glover's little brother. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I came back home, and in 81 I went back to Seattle to pay respects. In '82, I went back to Seattle to pay respects. I would go out every July 20th. I would go to Bruce Lee's gravesite to pay my respects.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
That's special.
Right.
Huh.
But then in 1983, and some people have heard this story. Glenn's on here, my student Glenn. He's heard this story multiple times. But in 1983, I said to myself, you'll only get so far if you keep paying respects to the deceased source of Jeet Kune Do. You got to go to the live source. And for me, the live source pointed to Dan Inosanto.
So, but the times that you went out, the previous times you went out there up till '83, were you still training with Jesse's brother?
No, I trained with him just in 1980.
Oh, that was just a one time.
That was
okay.
I think I spent like 3 training sessions with them or something during the time that I was there, because my Jeet Kune Do at that time was kind of self-directed. You know, and I really didn't have like an idea that one day I'm going to be an instructor in this, one day I'm going to this, one day I'm going to that, right? You know,
Sure,
I was a little kid from the island. So it was a hobby. It wasn't a calling, not at that time.
No, I know. I think we all gone through that. Like when you start, it's not like you have, like you're foreseeing the future that you're going to teach.
Right.
You're going to have a school.
No.
You're going to have students.
Yeah, you're
going to be on the podcast.
Yeah, they're going to make the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I can tell you right now, none of that was entering my mind.
No,
you know?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. So you go to Guru Dan's, and so that had to be your first experience and exposure with FMA. Am I correct?
With the exception of this here magazine,
okay,
right, which has an article. It's kind of funny, right? Do you see here, Kali Rhythm, Weapons and Death Matches? So this is so that's an article on. Let me find it because this was seminal, even though I didn't realize it at the time. So this is what was going on here. So this is all Villabril Largusa.
Okay, yep, I recognize it.
Right.
Okay.
And but then in this also, the cover story was about Jeet Kune Do through Danny Inosanto's eyes, right? So where is it, right? See, Jeet Kune Do beyond Bruce Lee, right?
Okay.
So here's what was in there. Can you see it? Filipino stick fighting.
Yeah.
And you see what it says there? Part of JKD curriculum.
I do.
Right. So that was kind of my first exposure to Filipino martial art.
So I guess what I miss, but as far as in like
training it,
person-to-person instructional, was it Guru Dan?
Yeah.
Like
Okay. There was no Kali in Barbados. Heck no. Oh God.
Okay.
No.
So when you went there though, but you had to move there. You just took a trip there.
Yes, I went out to do 2 weeks at camp.
So he was running camps back then.
No, he wasn't running. He was featured instructor. These camps were run by Jay D'Amato of St. Louis, Missouri. Right? So this is a story I've told before. If I have it correctly, 1978, 79 is when there was kind of like the first camp in Aspen, Colorado. Jay D'Amato attended Aspen and then thought to himself, I can do this as well. And so he moved out from St. Louis, Missouri to Orange County, California, and in 82 set up what we call CMAA, California Martial Arts Academy. So they ran CMAA in 82 and in 83 at UFC Irvine, and then 84 and 85 they took it home to St. Louis.
Okay.
In '86, Vic Payne from Brasstown, North Carolina, who I met in LA in '83, he started what was called the Smoky Mountain Camp.
I've heard of that one.
Right.
Okay.
So then
Okay.
Smoky Mountain became kind of like the premier meeting place for all things Inasano, Fong, Hartselle, Sirisuit, Tackett, you know, for like a decade.
What a lineup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So a lot of you know, a lot of my like Muay Thai counterparts, they got their comeuppance in Muay Thai during the 10 years of Smoky Mountain. So people like Dickie Harrell, people like, even though if I remember correctly, Dickie Harrell got his introduction to Muay Thai in 1982 in at a seminar. Maybe it was in North Carolina, if I remember correctly, right? Dickie will confirm that for us. But I never went to Smoky Mountain because I don't camp. No.
Makes two of us.
Yeah, I don't camp.
Yeah, I don't have a tent.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, each to their own.
Right.
You know. But, so then, okay, so you go to this camp, you do 2 weeks. What followed that? Which, you know, because I know at some point there was a couch involved that you were staying in the couch. Cas Magna.
Oh wait, in the couch?
I thought you were staying on his couch for a while.
Oh, well, okay. So
but there's got to be something in between that, right?
Immediately after the first 2 weeks at CMAA was a return for another 5 days at CMAA. Because I was so in love with what I had come across there that I went home and finagled to get some more time off, and I went back out. Jay D'Amato was gracious enough to tell me, if you can make it out, we won't charge you anything, you know.
And what was the time gap between the two?
No, this was the very next week.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, so I went home that weekend and
I got you.
And talked to my boss, and I think I flew back out like maybe on Tuesday or something, and then spent Wednesday,
okay.
Thursday, Friday.
So at these camps and the following 5-day camp is when you kind of got hands-on exposure with FMA?
Yes, that was my, as a matter of fact, okay, so this is gonna look bad on camera, but let me see if I can find something. Give me 1 second, okay?
Sure.
All right, I only found one of them. But I want to show you something. I actually have 2 of them. This.
Okay. Palm stick.
Yeah. You know what this is?
No.
This is my second pair of Kali sticks. This is the original. Okay? So this thing is older than some of the people watching this video.
Wow.
This thing.
So what, 80,
this
82?
This thing is 36 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So you know they say a good stick never dies?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the evidence. So but this is pair number 2. I have another palm stick from pair number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, how neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are, I'll say those are not going anywhere.
Nope. Because what we would do is, you know, when the business end of the weapon starts to fray, then sometimes you can get, if you're lucky, you can get 2 12-inch daggers out of that. Or maybe you get a 12-inch dagger and you get a palm stick. So it's true, you know, a good stick really never dies.
Oh yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you're doing these camps. You're obviously enjoying yourself and totally immersed in what's going on.
Right. But camp is in the summer.
Okay.
What I started doing was flying out to Los Angeles.
Going to the academy?
Yes.
Okay.
You see? So that might be where the couch story comes in, because there
was definitely a couch story.
Well, there was time. There was sleeping bag time at Cass Magda's place. There was sleeping on the mat at Inosano's house, right? I think that might be what you're talking about. I'm not sure.
So when you made the transition to going to Los Angeles, were those more weekend oriented times?
No.
Or
no, this was during
you would just get a lot at a time that you could go from work and just
okay.
go?
So you know that I run my little group here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right?
Correct.
When I had my big school, Tuesdays and Thursdays were my official teaching days as well. You know why?
No, what's that?
Because those were Dan Inosano's official teaching days.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
So for 30-something years, I have taught on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I would fly out. I would fly out Monday night, for example, or Wednesday night, and then he and Mrs. Inosano would pick me up Tuesday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, Bert Richardson and I talk about this in his episodes of the dialogues, because he would be there. They would pick me up, and we would go up to the IMB Academy.
Oh, okay. Sifu Pastillo.
Yes,
okay.
Right? Because Sifu Dan taught there in the mornings
Okay, yep.
on Tuesdays
Chris
and
Smith.
Thursdays.
Okay, I remember hearing that. So just to back up a bit, when you started going to LA, you were still living in Barbados, correct?
Yes, I made that trek for about 3 years.
So then from there, is that when you eventually moved to Miami?
Yeah, and I moved to Miami in '86 because a couple of things. I wanted to move to LA, but I worked for Eastern Airlines, not Western Airlines, and so at LAX International, I would not have had enough seniority to get a shift that would allow me to train at the Inosano Academy.
Okay.
I would have had to work nights instead of So instead, I had started going back and forth to Miami as well. So, and I felt really comfortable in Miami. So I just transferred there. Plus, now I was just one 4 to 5 hour nonstop flight from Los Angeles, you know?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
So in '86 when you're in Miami, did you right there and then, did you immediately open a school?
No.
Or did that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that came maybe about 2 years or so later.
All right, so late '80s is when you.
Yeah, like 1988, we put a roof. I mean, I immediately started training, and because, okay, so let me backtrack. My first visit to Miami was in '79. I started visiting regularly in 1980. And then in '84, I made a special friend who trained in Taekwondo. And so through her, there was a bunch of people that when I moved here, instantly started training with me.
Oh, okay.
There was a group of Taekwondo black belts that instantly started training with me.
And you were basically showing what you gathered thus far from the
because in '85, Sifu Dan had let me into the instructorship program.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was so I had permission to show stuff to people.
Oh, fantastic. All right. So up to that point, you were basically going there to his house. To his school.
Yeah.
Whether it was camps or you just getting time off,
right?
And you just logging in hours.
Yeah,
Is that kind of
my annual vacation was always to go to CMA or something.
okay?
Yeah, it was never you know, family this and family that, or with like regular people. It was all
Yeah.
no, it was all martial art related.
Okay, so then what so what when you're going out there and all that, what you know, what appealed, how did Kali appeal to you? Like, you know, I mean, I know, you know, JKD obviously goes without saying your
Okay.
love and passion for that, but
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something, right? Nobody else will hear this. It'll be just me and you. The love and
then 100 people.
no, no, this will be a secret between me and you. The love and passion, right, is equal between JKD and Kali.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Right.
I would be honest. I would have not known that without you telling me just now.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I knew you had affinity for Kali.
Yeah. See. Okay.
But I would not put it
All right.
I'm
gonna tell you another little secret. A JKD guy like me is not supposed to talk openly about his absolute love for Filipino Kali. Okay.
I did.
Right. Yeah. You're I'm just kidding. Right. But look, to me, so this is that. See this shirt?
Yes.
That says it all.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Wow, that's neat.
That's the shirt that says it all. If I ever feel like I have to justify my involvement with Filipino martial arts, since I'm a JKD guy, that's it. That's the justification right there.
Yeah, that's what yeah, no argument there.
I'm just kidding.
No. So, all right. So obviously, at some point, you get your certification, and then is that at that point when you actually started having a program at your school in Miami?
No, we put a roof over our head in 1988. We started bringing Sifu and Asano to Miami in 1989.
Oh.
Right? So
Okay.
in 92, in June of 92, I think it was 92, that's when I was promoted to associate instructor.
Okay.
Then in August of 92, we had the infamous Hurricane Andrew. Now, fortunately for me, right? So I was living on Miami Beach at the time, and Miami Beach was the initial target. And then Andrew goes, nah, I like that guy, Dwight, and went south and blasted Homestead and Florida City and the Keys, right? So my place on the beach was untouched, virtually.
Well, thank God. Okay.
Out west, where we had the warehouse, and that's what it was. It was a rock solid building. So we had no damage there either.
Okay.
So the only thing was that, you know, there was a curfew because it took a while for the power to come back on. But we were probably training in class within a week or so, if I remember correctly, right? And so in December of 92, we were afforded the opportunity to move out of the warehouse district into the a more commercially appealing setting. So we moved into a mall, you know, where there was restaurants and pet supermarket and, you know,
Right, okay.
yeah, food spot and all that stuff. Yeah.
Traffic.
Yeah. So that's where the professionalization of Miami Jeet Kune Do began.
Okay. So I guess, when did you officially, I guess, have, like, was that at that time when you officially had a separate FMA class?
I pretty much did everything that Sifu Dan did. Everything I saw him do in LA, I did. So
Okay.
when he had basics class, then phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 class, that's what I did. When he switched to having a JKD class, a Kali class, a Silat class, a Savat class, a Muay Thai class, I did the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Right? I just,
Okay.
yeah, whatever, you know, I just kind of followed, not his lead, because he wasn't leading, I just followed whatever he was doing.
Did you prefer that, having them separate modules?
Yes and no. Because after a while, it gets to be too much. You see?
Too much in
Yeah.
terms of.
So imagine this. So every week, right? Here's what you have to schedule.
Yep.
Every week, you got to schedule a Wing Chun class, a Savat class, a Muay Thai class, a Kali class, a Jun Fan class, and then you also have to break it into levels of ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so after a while,
No, it's a lot.
yeah,
Yeah. If you're,
and then imagine trying to have a curriculum for all of that. Imagine trying to have evaluations, what other people call testing, for all of that material. After a while, it gets to be ridiculous. It really does.
So prior to that, you kind of lumped everything into one and during your class settings.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, in the warehouse days, it was show up and we just went.
Regardless of levels.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And then
Right.
eventually, over time, you adapted.
Yes.
Level classes.
Yeah, because you know, the students who stay longer, naturally they become, you know, the seniors.
Sure.
Right. And so it's like that to this very day. The seniors in my class now, like people like Miguel. Miguel's been with me for about 7 or 8 years. Then Glenn's been around for like 3 or 4 years, or what have you. You know, Miguel came from the big school after that closed, and then
Okay.
yeah, you know. So now the format is kind of like Inosano's backyard format, which is like empty hands for about 60 minutes and then weaponry for about 30 minutes, except that whenever there is a 5th Thursday of the month, the entire 90-minute class is Filipino martial arts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how we keep our love for Kali going.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah.
To dedicate one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when you were going to the academy and all that, were there times when the other instructors came in? Did you have exposure with other instructors coming in?
Yes.
Or when you went out there, was it mostly just you were out there just when Guru Dan was there?
I was there when I've trained with Ted Lukai. I trained with him. Of course, I trained. You know, I would train in Cass's class. I trained with Chris Kent over there, Bert Richardson.
Who's that?
Yeah, this a ponytail guy. You know. I was there when. Let's see. I was there when, I can't remember the system, but it was a Filipino system, and the guy came in one night, and you know, Sifu Dan had him do a workshop. I was there for that. When Paul Detour started teaching there, I was there. It was in LA that I took my Muay Thai instructorship test. Right, I did that over there. Who else? I can't remember. Yeah, that's where I think that's where I met Salem Astley. So that's where I started Savat training.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was kind of a virtual member of the Inosano Academy.
Even though you were okay.
Yeah.
So just all those people came, and you know, not that you know I need names, but like, because those, I mean, some really phenomenal people you just mentioned. What impact other than Guru Dan,
Mm-hmm.
what impact, maybe, maybe you can identify, maybe, I don't think that's that important, but like, what impact do they have on you? And it could be physical content, maybe a quote,
Okay.
maybe a methodology.
Okay.
know?
I'll tell you this. The person who had the greatest impact on me was Cass Magda, because I spent most personal time with him.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Okay.
Now, but in 1983, Neil Coliff and I spent we did private training with Paul Vunak. Okay, so he was an influence in the early days also. So I saw Paul in 83, I saw him in 84, I saw him in 85. But in terms of interactions with people in LA, Cass was it. More so than anybody else.
How about some of the what about some of the guest instructors? Like, other than, and then it doesn't have to be Kali related, like you mentioned Paul de Thors, like any of them that you just marveled on what they've shown, or
so I'm trying to remember if I saw a whole lot of people. So my old student John is telling me not to forget Herman Suwanda, but I don't know if I trained with him in LA. I probably did, right? I probably did, but he was one that we brought to Miami. I mean, so we started with Sifu Dan. We've brought Cass to Miami. We brought Guy Chase to Miami. We brought Paul Vunak to Miami. We brought, we're bringing, Ajahn Chai is going to be here this weekend, and he's been coming here since 95 or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Did I say we brought Burt Richardson to Miami?
I think you did tell me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. So Cass came to Miami. Suwanda came to Miami. De Thors came to Miami. Francis Fong. And a whole bunch of other people. Right.
Yeah. Oh, your students are lucky.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, see, and I was lucky too. And so, but that's what the purpose of the seminars has always been. And again, here I'm trying to follow Inosano's example. What does Inosano do? He makes the people he's training under, he makes them available to his students. So if I have the means of doing that, having my students train under the person that I have trained under, then I'll go ahead and do the same thing.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Just now, getting back to the Inosano blend.
And John reminded me, Eric Paulson also.
Eric Paul, okay, shoot.
Yes.
Okay.
And John Jack Machado and Higan Machado.
Right, because he had the Machados for the BJJ, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Man, what a lineup.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's what we call the good old days.
That's why I just love talking to the early guys. Like, sometimes to me, the conversations equal the, the physical content. Like, if I'm going to see somebody and they were during that time, I'm fascinated just by the stories and the people that came in and their experiences and all that. It's just,
we were talking about that just yesterday. See, unfortunately, an old fart like me is not going to be attractive to the young crowd that's coming up. You see, the young crowd that's coming up is attracted to the people who are on social media, who have mastered social media, who put themselves out there, right?
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, sometimes the quality of what they put out there is a little bit suspect. Oh, we also brought Salem Astley.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. We were talking about that yesterday.
Thanks, John.
Right. And, you're absolutely going to get no argument from me.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with the old guard. Like you brought on your podcast today.
Yes.
You were mentioning the old guard.
Yes.
In my opinion, the old guard to me is like you, Bert, and, all those guys that came from the early days. And I'm just fascinated because, the stories and what you guys have to share, not just physical content.
But then we have our old guard as well.
Right. No, right. I mean, you were
You
mentioning
see?
today.
Yeah. We have our old guard, and so
Yeah.
so my express desire would be that the youngsters go, okay, wait, look, it's like I tell my students all the time, right? So if somebody comes to me and if like one of my junior JKDers is having a problem with his or her parents, I just say to them, I go, who's got more experience at being a child, you or your mom and dad? Your mom and dad, right? I go, okay, so then just trust them, since they've been a child before. Just trust them that they're doing the best and that they can point you in the right direction, right? So people are going to start complaining that we're not talking enough Kali. I'm just saying, okay?
Yeah, we're gonna go right back. Well, you know how these things go.
Yeah.
They take a life on their own. You know what I mean? So, all right, you know what? Let's give them what they want.
Okay.
Give them what they want.
Okay.
What aspect? Okay, whether it be weapon or that. Well, first, I guess this would be a two-part question.
Okay.
And as far as the Anasazi curriculum, like, what was there a style that that you gravitated towards, that you enjoyed? And the second part of the question is, what weapon do you really like? Do you prefer to work with? Whether it be knife, sword, stick, a spotty dagger. So the first part again, like, was there a system within his system that really you gravitated towards?
All right. There is no Inasano curriculum.
Okay, and the blend, is that, am I
There's not even an Inasano blend. I'm going to tell you something, right? Look, so here's the thing, see? You got to give stuff a name in order to pass it on.
So they was given that name. Okay,
right?
okay.
You got to give it a name in order to pass it on, because you cannot expect people to organize and arrange stuff on their own. So you have to find a method of organizing and arranging. You see? So, and I'll tell you why, right? Now, this is just my opinion. So everybody out there who wants to take issue with this, feel free. This is just my opinion. I guarantee you it was not Dan Inasano who ever started calling anything the Inasano Lacoste system. Okay?
No,
I'll tell you why, right? I'll tell you why. You never put your name in front of your teacher's name. It is not Largusa Villabrail system. It is Villabrail Largusa system. So I guarantee you, he is not the person who started calling it Inasano Lacoste.
Okay. So but that had to happen.
But again, if I'm organizing material, see, look, here, you're never going to come across the Dwight Woods Kali system.
Right.
Okay. I'm never going to name, the art after. First of all, I'm not Filipino. You might not have noticed that. Right. I'm not Filipino. So I'm not right. But I do have my own organizational method.
Sure.
You see, but I'm not so ambitious, right, as to go name it. Mm-hmm. The Dwight Woods system, the Dwight Woods method. So, in my opinion, there really is deep down. Now, I do not speak for Dan Inasano, but I'm going to tell you what I think there is no such thing as Inasano curriculum, but you do have to organize stuff. And unfortunately, I'm not talking about the people on this podcast, right? Because these are a different breed, right? My students, for the most part, I'd say probably 70% of them could care less what we do. They just want to come train.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? They just want to come train. So they don't have to have this specific curriculum with this specific stuff that I have to know in order to go from level this to level that or what have you. But you can't run a school that way. You see?
But I get what you're saying without the title and all that. But so let's subtract names and titles.
Okay.
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 Let's just say, is it fair to say a fusion of different systems?
Well, yeah. I mean, considering the fact that he's trained with over 30, over 30 different instructors in just Filipino martial arts alone,
Which is
right?
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But,
So here's the thing. When we now I'm going to test myself. One of the first things we were introduced to when we started doing long and short, right? When we started doing Espada y Daga, it was called the 7 sources of Inasano's long and short. That was like the heading given to it, right? So there was Villabril Largusa.
Okay.
There was Cabalas Serrata. There was Illustrissimo. There was Piquiti Tertia. There was, see, now I'm at 4 and I'm missing 3. There was something called the X Factor, right? Okay. So, Johnny, Glenn, Miguel, help me, right?
So you're missing
Right?
2 or 3.
I'm missing 2. So let's do it again.
Lacoste?
No, okay, all right. So there was Lacoste, there was Cabalas, there was Doce Paris, there was Piquiti Tertia, there was X Factor, there was
Illustrissimo?
Villabril Largusa, and Illustrissimo. That's the 7. Okay.
Okay.
Right? So yes, we were aware that the Inasano material came from different places, of course, right? It's like, so here's how it could be expressed. We're doing a Lacoste technique, but we're using an Illustrissimo training method, and then we're using a Piquiti Tertia numbering system.
Okay. So then when this is being taught to you in that format, that method.
I love it.
Okay, all right. So I guess my question is, were you concerned where it was coming from, or you were just ingratiated with the material?
You know why? Because it was coming from Dan Inasano.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Right? It was coming from Dan Inasano. So here's the thing, right? Here's what I understand. Because he gives me something that we can call a finished product. He is not saying, here, Dwight, this is all you need. My finished product that I'm handing to you. Never. I don't know if it's smart enough, right? But I'll say I was smart enough to realize that he had to organize stuff in order to travel the world and teach.
Yeah, sure.
But he never said, okay, look, here's all you need. He has always said, you got to do the same thing for yourself. You got to organize things your way. His way is not my way.
No, nor should it be. Sure.
You get what I'm saying?
No, the individual's getting, I tell you, I see today the individual's getting lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right. So
so
it's not about copying what Dan Inasano has done, and even though I'll admit that we all tried to look like him. Right? And sometimes we all affected the kind of absent-minded professor personality, Yeah.
But don't be fooled.
Well, there is that. Paul Vunak clued us into that. Yeah. Don't be fooled.
Yeah, right. Don't be fooled.
Yeah.
So then, so everything you're exposed to, long, short, staff, double, single, what did was there a particular module that you really enjoyed over others?
Okay, so there are people who are might comment when I give you this answer. My answer is no. It doesn't matter. There are people who are going to go, he's lying. It's long and short.
That would be my answer.
Right?
I'm just so fascinated with it.
Now, so if I was lying and it really was long and short, here's why. It would be because Johnny Lacoste says that long and short is the backbone of Kali. Johnny Lacoste says, if you get long and short, you'll get everything.
I can relate to that.
You see? So, but
I mean, your perception to react.
But I don't have a preferred method. I don't have a favorite. It's all Kali. Okay?
Yeah. I suppose it goes in phases. Like, I was always knife, because that's what I was going to see in the street. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, I do stick. It's almost like sometimes it's like the obligatory weapon. Oh, what do you mean? You don't do stick and you're a Kali guy?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I definitely do it.
Yeah.
But the long and short is what's really, as of late, captivated.
Well, see,
you know what I mean? That could change. A year from now, that could change, But
in the street, it's going to be telescopic baton for me. Because that's what I carry.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking more and more people about that, man.
Now, there was a time, I kid you not, there was a time when I was telling you about living on Miami Beach. When I moved to the beach in '89, I used to carry 2 balisongs and a telescopic.
Hey, backup. And more backup.
Right? I used to carry 2 balisongs.
But wait, why did you feel the need in Miami? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Well, hey, man, I mean, look, we were so immersed in the culture. There was a time where we used to wear sarongs over our jeans when we would go out to the movies and what have you. We dressed in sarongs. Look, we would never have survived. If I still behaved that way, I would be arrested for cultural appropriation.
Today.
Yeah. I mean, all martial artists would be arrested for cultural appropriation if you think about it, because look at what we're doing, right? So it's like, I've said this before. You got my cousin Kurt just came on, so Kurt's probably down in Trinidad watching this. So I was born right in Trinidad. I grew up in Barbados. I moved to Miami, right? What the heck is a Black West Indian doing teaching Chinese and Filipino and Indonesian and Thai martial arts in a community that is 75% Hispanic, and of that 75%, 65% is probably Cuban? It makes no sense.
Cuban, yeah. Right.
You get what I'm saying? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I just got the first power warning, but I have a way out of it, so we can keep going.
Okay, because I definitely got some more questions, but
okay.
All right. So as far as the weapon, you love it all, but if you were lying, long and short.
Yes, right. If I was lying, right.
Okay. We touched on this yesterday, and I was really fascinated by what you share with me as far as false and real. With regards to teaching different levels of students that you have within your class setting.
Yes.
And I think the folks, they're going to enjoy this. I know I did. So how do you teach to a variety of levels in your class setting?
Okay. So
with regards to FMA.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this, right? So much of my organizational approach. So let's start at the beginning. Students who are in basics and phase 1, for example, the focus for them is on coordination. Now, phase 2 into phase 3 is on combat.
Okay.
Phase 3 into phase 4 is on flow and freelance.
Okay.
You know where I got that from?
No.
Kali. I use it for everything that I teach. But it comes from combat, coordination, combat, flow, freelance.
Freelance.
Yes.
And at the end, do you have teaching that they would graduate to teaching if they wanted to?
Yeah, that's probably where I suck the most in building a teacher culture, an instructor culture. You know, having a whole team and what have you, right? So Glenn and Miguel are, kind of automatically the candidates for that, right? I mean, Miguel does have apprentice instructorship certificates under me, right? But if it's anywhere that I have failed, it's in creating that instructorship culture, where, how some people have students who come for the certificate.
Yeah.
I have never been successful in creating that culture.
I think that's
which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing, philosophy and mentality wise, but it's not a good thing for the perpetuation of your legacy.
Perpetuation of it.
You get what I'm saying?
No, I do. But you know what though? I don't think that would be a difficult fix for you. I mean,
no, but probably not. But deep down in my heart of hearts, the emphasis is on the sharing, the training, the studying, the learning, not on building an empire.
Which is far more
right?
important.
Yeah, but which to a certain degree is kind of necessary, up to a point.
Well, if you wanted somebody to perpetuate, yeah, but I mean, I think the aforementioned what you just brought up though, it exceeds.
Yeah, but so here's the thing, right? So when I'm gone, when I'm no longer able to teach, do I want Miami Jeet Kune Do to continue? Yes. So do I have to organize it like now? To a certain degree, yes, I have to for sure.
Hey, well, just look at it as a great goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Hang on 1 second.
Sure.
I'm going to switch from battery. Oh gosh, I hope I don't mess this up. Can you still hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'm gonna switch from battery to AC, but I can't do it with the headset. All right, you can still hear me, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So now we won't run out of power because I got it plugged in now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we can go all night.
So getting back to the levels, let's just say a random example. You got somebody maybe came in. He's coming for a few classes. You got somebody that maybe, a few folks there with a few months, and then you got, some like the two that you mentioned, maybe, been there for several years.
Yes.
Regardless of what you're covering, maybe it's, you're doing some stick work and all that. How would you integrate all of them, but yet you're not making it so taxing on yourself?
Okay. But
yet all is inclusive.
Okay. So back in the old days of the big school,
yep,
we had morning classes. So Monday morning was a Jun Fan class, Wednesday morning was a Muay Thai class, and Friday morning was a Kali class. Okay. And that was for all those who worked the night shift. So it was a mixed group. Phase 1, 2, and 3 trained in that class. When I introduced a student to the school, and it was somebody who, because of his or her work schedule, was going to be training in that group, I explained to them that this is what would happen. Class will start, and you'll be feeling nice and relatively comfortable. And then all of a sudden, this is what will happen. I go, that's when we change from your material. Right? You see? So here's the thing. So I made sure they understood. We are not going to hide the intermediate and the advanced material from you. But you're not allowed to feel frustrated that you don't get it.
Oh, I love that. Man, I like that. Right? No, you're not, you can't see that stuff.
Right. Yeah. We're not going to, but you're not allowed to get frustrated. You got to understand these guys have been here for years. You've been here for hours. Now, how cool is that? That you get to hang out with the people who've been here. You think you can learn something from them?
Oh my God, you know what though? It also makes them feel included.
Right.
Like you come in there and you go, oh, you know what? You're going to have to go over here because they're doing something over there. But you know what? I'm going to be back in 5 minutes and get you onto something.
Right. And also, those senior guys. So I have a video. I haven't posted it yet, but I have a video that I shot maybe 2 weeks ago. It's Miguel and Glenn, my two seniors. And the two of them are working with and on Gabriel, who's like the newest member in our group.
Fantastic.
And he's like 13 or 14 or 15. And those two are what we call in the islands two hardback men.
Two what now?
Hard back.
Two hardback. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
you know, like a turtle that's
Oh, yeah.
old with a hard shell. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, wow, I like that. I really appreciate the inclusiveness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Well, 'cause
so. Is that
no secrets? The only secret is that you have to work your butt off.
yeah? Put the work in. Right. Right. Why should right?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing of hiding secrets. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like, so he just came on, but another one of my old students, Kevin Porter. Kevin Porter was raised in the morning classes,
Okay.
but then he became a fanatic, and he was there in the mornings and in the evenings and on the weekends.
Yeah.
But he's pretty much a product of the morning classes.
So is this an approach you take regardless of the class?
So now that morning class format is what we use for the mixed group that meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. Okay.
So everybody does everything. But
So regardless of what you're working on, they're doing it.
yeah.
Regardless of level and all that. And on
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, what is it? What are the classes you run?
So 7 to 8 is we'll call it Junfan, right? And then 8 to 8:30, which really becomes 8:45, is the Filipino okay. So that's the general setup. Empty hands weaponry. On the second and fourth Thursdays of every month, the 90 minutes are devoted to Muay Thai.
Okay.
On the third Thursday of every month, the 90 minutes is devoted to grappling.
Okay.
And then I told you before, if we end up with a fifth Thursday, it's devoted
FMA.
to Filipino Martial Arts.
Yeah. That's neat.
Right? Yeah. So that, you know, because I, you know, like you just said, you have to give people what they want. And I know.
Yeah, I mean, and I think,
you know, Miguel
right, they come.
Muay Thai.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you have to get what they want. But also, just from the perspective, if they come in there and automatically they're getting the feeling that they're secluded because they're new.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't imagine they're going to be wanting to come back. You know what I mean? Unless you're the only game in town. You know what I mean?
The ongoing battle, let's say, internal battle for the instructor, an instructor who aspires to be excellent, is finding that perfect union, that perfect marriage between what the students want and what the students need.
Mm.
You see?
Yeah.
That's the trick. That's
right.
So coordination, combat, flow, freelance, that's what they need. So somehow inside of that structure, I also have to keep coming up with what they want.
Right.
Now, what's one thing that they want? Variety.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
Sure.
So in organizing your material, take the junior JKDers. I got to teach them 5 angles of attack, right?
Okay.
So how do you do it? Well, one thing we do, we have 3 versions of the 5 angles of attack. So that tricks their little brains into concentrating. Right? Now with the older people, those 3 versions of 5 angles of attack grows into 3 versions of 12 angles of attack.
Okay.
Right? Now, why? Because if we keep feeding the same numbering system, then it becomes rote and nobody really focuses anymore. And the purpose of having 3 versions of 12 angles of attack is just so you learn to deal with whatever comes at you.
Sure, random. Okay.
Yeah. You see, so
Yeah.
but and then again, you know, you got to be careful because now you know, somebody somewhere is going to want to, you know, if they mess up, right? If they mess up, then they feel like, oh, I did the wrong thing. No, the wrong thing is if you get hit. You see?
Yeah.
Or if you get hit, not recover. That's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So the material is there really just to teach you to be spontaneous. So it's like Cass said. Cass said it in an interview for, I don't think it was ever like commercially released. But Cass said that Kali is a very intuitive art. And to teach someone his own intuition is not an easy thing.
That's a good, wow.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, well, that's Magda. That's the man.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You can't teach, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you perceive or what you, right, or what, yeah, no. Yeah, that's, wow. So then overall, then you make them all, just to kind of conclude, you make them all, you try to make them all inclusive, regardless of what you're doing. There's a way they can fit in.
Yeah.
Regardless of who they're working with.
Yes, because everybody gravitates to their level.
Okay. Okay.
You see, everybody gravitates to their level, and like Glenn said it best. Glenn, I forget the circumstance, but he was talking about, and I heard him say this himself, and this is not something that I have said to him, but he says, look at the name of our school. It's called Unified Martial Art. He goes, that's because we are a solid group. The goal
Unity.
is the members of the group to be one with each other. So nobody complains about being stuck with the beginner guy. You know? Because I've been here for a while, I'm intermediate. Nobody complains because what do they know? They go, oh, I used to be beginner.
Yeah.
You know, how cool was it when somebody who was intermediate dealt with me when I was a beginner? So now you get to pay it back.
Sure.
Huh?
Yeah. No, I like that cooperation amongst students like that. I think that's, and plus, you know, you're giving them something, you know, for just life values and something they can carry outside of the school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Cooperation,
right,
helping people.
And if they
you
can't
know,
handle that, if they cannot appreciate that, then they're not really part of our group.
no, right, because then they're not being selfless. They're being selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you? All right. No, that's excellent. Do you think, you know, this is kind of, this might raise some eyebrows, but.
Well, Neil Colliff is already raising his eyebrows. Hi, Neil. I'm gonna see him this weekend.
Do you think? Well, I got 2 questions. Well, I got a few more, but let's dive into this one and where it goes. With what you're seeing today, you kind of alluded to it, you know, on social media, what have you, and all that, and whether it's getting, you know, lost in translation, or it's becoming who gets the most views and who's got the most branches off a tree, or, you know, what have you. Do you think FMA as a whole could benefit from MMA's training methodology?
Well, so depends. Wait, hang on a second. Something went wrong here.
I'm
Okay.
hearing echo.
Yeah. All right. So do I think that FMA could benefit from MMA's training methodology?
Meaning that and I'm talking about on the highest level, you know what I mean? Like, in other words, not a guy who's just kind of doing it to burn some steam off on a Saturday morning.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking in the context of the elite who really have to dial in on what they're doing in order to be successful. And I'm not saying I have the answer to this. It's just something
You're talking about a mentality?
It could be a mentality. It could be a training regimen.
Okay.
It could be, absolutely.
All right, because I wasn't sure like in what context you were referring, because
Yeah.
I mean, MMA training methodology to me is just it's what all combat athletes do. And so it is a blend of static training, dynamic training, equipment training, partner drills,
Yeah.
sparring, competition if you go that route.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Agreed. And again, like, I want to preface this. I'm not saying I have the answer. It's something as of late I've been thinking about, like what makes them successful on the higher level, because they dial in and less is more, and they narrow, you know what I mean, their approach.
Okay. So,
and I'm not saying it would be a direct fit for FMA. I think maybe there could be. So I'm just curious to get another person's insight.
right. Okay. So less. All right. So less is more applied to Kali.
Okay.
So we'll make that the question?
We could do that, but I mean, this is something I got from just conversation with David Gould, and it's something that resonated with me, not just in terms of Kali, I mean, just in my everyday life.
Okay, so here's the thing, see, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't know that the MMA training methodology is any different from the JKD training methodology.
Oh, and I'm not suggesting it is. No, or not. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Right. Okay. So then everything. Okay. So here's how it works. You strip away from your Filipino martial arts all of the non-functional stuff.
Okay.
That's what you do. You take a hatchet to it, right? No, you take a barong to it, right? and you strip away the stuff that's flashy.
Okay.
Right? Now, along the way, you kind of ask yourself, well, where did this flashy stuff come from? You know, how did it get into it? Why are they doing it? Right? Or whatever. But you know, again, like I've said before, my Kali is Jeet Kune Do tinged.
Yeah.
You see? So that's why I said there is no Inasano curriculum, because what Inasano is doing is showing the commonalities between things, right? You know, so what if I've trained with 30-something different old Filipino guys?
Sure.
Anybody had a different angle one?
Angle 1, angle 5, pretty much the same, right?
Right? So what is that? It's telling you that there are more similarities than differences.
No, I can appreciate. I can definitely appreciate that.
Telling you that there are certain things that are important and certain things on which you should focus.
Yeah.
So, what's the focus? The focus is on bringing people to a level of functionality.
Agreed.
So you make sure they understand things like, when you're doing a coordination drill, it is done at a particular distance. A coordination drill is done at a spot in between you and your partner. That's
okay.
Identify it as a coordination drill. Now, if we start doing a fighting drill, an offensive-defensive drill,
okay,
my stick, when I attack you with the weapon, it has to land in range and on target. So if I'm aiming at your head, my stick does not land in front of your face. It lands on the side of your head.
Correct.
But if you've only been with me for 2 weeks, guess what? You've
Yeah.
been shown the combat drill, but it's not your material. So here's how you're directed. You are told, keep this in mind. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Fast is deadly.
Yes. You remember you sharing that with me.
Right?
Yep.
Okay? So then you just ask them, are you deadly? No. So you got to be what? Slow. There you go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You see? So they're not being, it's not like, no, go off in that corner and work on your white belt material.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. No. Right. You're not right. You're not putting him off to the side.
Right.
Agreed. Right.
See? So, and have you ever heard this where people go, well, I don't want to work with another beginner because two people who don't know what they're doing, right, are that's not going to benefit them. Have you ever had somebody say that to you?
No. Luckily, I
Good.
mean,
Because
up to this point.
I have come across that from time to time, right? Where somebody will say, well, I don't want to work with another beginner because he doesn't know anything. I don't know anything. And I go, well, that's because what you're not factoring in is the aspect of Jeet Kune Do where you work it out. You see? So that,
Problem solved.
so this right? So in marketing, let's say, right? In marketing, and understanding business, there is what? There's Lowe's and Home Depot. Lowe's and Home Depot are for the, let me make sure I get it right, the DIY people. And the DIY stands for what? Do it yourself.
Okay.
So you go to Home Depot to get the supplies to go home and build a wall yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Now, in mostly online marketing services, there's a thing called the DFY industry. That is the done for you industry.
Done for it. Okay.
You see? I came up with the phrase, the DIWY. Do it with you.
Oh, I like that.
Okay? So you're a beginner, he's a beginner.
Right.
You're gonna work together. You're gonna work it out for yourself. But guess what? I am here with you.
Oh, that's I like that.
Right?
I really do. Yeah.
So even though you're gonna work it out for yourself, guess what? You have me to
Right.
observe you. Because this is another thing, right? So Kevin Porter will appreciate this because he was like, oh yeah, I remember what we call the Kali triangle of knowledge. This is one of the most important pieces of Kali teaching, learning, training that you'll ever come across. And Ted Lukai, from my recollection, is the one who drove this home for me. At one point of the triangle of knowledge, you have the doer, the giver.
Okay.
At the other point, you have the receiver, the person to whom it is being done. At the third point, you have the observer, the one who's watching it being performed by two other people.
Oh, wow, that's neat. Wow.
You see?
What do you need?
Right. So whenever we have an odd number, the command that's given is, okay, you three triangle it. So if I say that to Glenn, or if, well, yeah, anybody who's been there for a while, if I go, okay, you three triangle it, they know two people work together, one person watches. Bell rings, you switch. Now,
the rotation. Okay.
Observe. So if I was feeding you, now you go feed the third guy.
Gotcha.
You see? And then the third guy will come feed me.
Huh, I like that.
And I got that from Ted Lukai. It is one.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah,
Just
one of the examples or versions of the Kali triangle of knowledge.
wow. I have to admit that it's the first of hearing that, but I like it.
Just hang on,
I like it.
and I'm old.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like talking to you guys, because you hear stuff that you don't hear, like talking to this new generation.
Yeah.
And all that. So I always gravitate towards you guys because, you know, the stories, the lineage, the history, you know, I find it, again, you know, just as appealing as the physical content, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, to
Yeah.
me,
And even,
really, you know,
even that triangle of knowledge, right? See, so if you think about it, so here I am, I'm the observer, right? So, okay, so I'll touch a topic that you're not supposed to touch. So you take a look at what the Democrats or the liberals are doing to
yeah,
the Republicans or the conservatives. And then, so the Democrats are feeding the conservatives. And then you take a look at what the conservatives or the Republicans are doing when they feed the Democrats.
yeah,
See? And I am out here observing.
yeah. Yeah, you're over there waving from afar.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Your third point is like
there.
all the way over there.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something. There is so much life application that is better. Maybe it's just in, you know, my personal experience, but there is so much life knowledge that is better delivered, better absorbed from Kali than from Jeet Kune Do.
You're not gonna get an argument from me.
Okay. Right? Now, somebody
You
says
know,
that,
just
and immediately they'll go, "Oh, is Dwight Woods putting down the Jeet Kune Do?" No,
no.
that it's a
Your critique. Hey, you're critiquing, not criticizing.
yeah, plus it's a personal observation.
Yeah. Right.
You see, right? Now, does that mean that somebody, you know, somebody like a Ted Wong level of Jeet Kune Do couldn't teach you every life lesson that he thought that he could teach from JKD? Of course he could.
Sure.
You know what I
Sure.
would do? I would sit at his feet and listen to him, right? You know, espouse those kinds of theories, and then I would learn something from that.
That's that. I agree, and that whole triangle thing. You know, Tom Sotis uses triangles in his to illustrate his methodology and circle of functionality, and it's unbelievable stuff. But
Yeah.
just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying about triangle from Lokai, that's great stuff.
Yeah.
It is okay. I got one more. Fit in one more question.
Okay.
And then I got to teach at 8.
Okay.
Where do you? This has been incredible, by the way. I hope everybody's enjoying it. Which where do you see? And again, you kind of touched about this on social media. What's going on as far as, you know, who's trying to get as many hits, yada yada. Where do you see FMA 10 years?
Well, I don't know that I've ever really thought about that. I think everybody goes the route of organized competition. That's what's going to get us on the map. You know, so
I know we're getting killed by MMA and
right.
the classicals,
Okay.
man, and Krav Maga, and
So
getting killed.
I'm going to tell you something. Back in late 80s, maybe even probably, there was a thing called the World Kali Olympic Committee.
Really?
Yes.
Was it here in the States?
Yes. It yeah.
Oh.
It was, if I remember, if I have my history correct, it was born out of the Pikiti Tersha family.
Okay.
And there was a guy named Bujanin Mateen who somewhere in a box in storage, I have original literature of the World Kali Olympic.
I bet you it started in New York City because the Bikini guys under Guy Hay, there was Sayak, you know, Chris Sayak back then, Atienza's father,
Mm-hmm.
some of the older Jersey guys, Bill McGrath, Tom Bizzio, they had a Filipino, oh my God, gosh, I wish I could remember this, but anyhow, where it was a setting where they all met and all that, and I'm guessing that's probably, maybe that's where it came from.
Yeah, could be. I only knew of it through Mateen was here in Florida, so I knew those guys down here, and that's where I got wind of it. But yeah, I mean, but so Neil Colliff, who is on here, Neil trained with Bizzio up in New York.
Yeah.
Neil at one. Neil's one of the baddest bikini Tertia guys I've ever seen.
Yeah, Tom Bizzio, man. There's a guy who just...
He's one of the baddest.
Yeah. So here's, kind of like what we were talking about, the competition, MMA, the BJJ, the sport, the like you mentioned, I don't have the answer either, but it's something I think about, like, where are we going to be in 10 years,
Okay. So, look, that's a question that people ask about Jeet Kune Do also. And today on the broadcast, you heard me say, something about the demise and the ultimate disappearance. I don't think it's going to happen. There's too many of us out there.
Oh, no, I don't think it's going to disappear, and I'm totally with you. My fear, and again, I'm not saying I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something I think about. My fear is it's going to get really drill oriented.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I'm right. It's just what I'm seeing now on social media. And I look from 10 years down the road, I'm just wondering if that's going to perpetuate and get bigger and bigger. Thus, the thing will be is not what I can do in real time, but what I can show in a memorized pattern.
Okay. Well,
again, right? It's just my opinion.
Here's the thing. Kali is not a combat sport.
No.
Right? So any attempt to transfer it into combat sport, is going. So now here's what you have to think of. Is that as appealing, right, to the general public as MMA? You see, so unless we can come up with a format where it's appealing.
That's a good point.
Right.
How do we make it appealing?
Yeah. Well, so I'll tell you.
There's a magic question.
Right. So here's one of the problems. The damn weapons move too fast. People can't see them.
I know. How do we? I think you hit on something. But you're totally right. How do we make it appealing to the masses?
Yes.
I don't have the answer. I'm just wondering.
Well, do we have to, or do we continue to teach it? Right? Do we continue to teach it? Do we continue to make it functional, and just make sure that we keep doing it? Just make sure we keep enrolling people into our schools, our little groups, our park setting, whatever. We keep spreading the art.
Hey, if that's all we can do, like if that's the current answer right now, then that's what we have to run with until something. Yeah. But I'm with you, right? We have to keep it preservation.
And here's the thing. So I'm guilty of this. I do not spend enough time showing stuff. I spend a lot of time on social media talking this stuff. I don't do enough showing of the stuff. Miguel will tell you he's on my case every week.
That's, for example, that whole sombrada thing that you have on your channel.
Yeah.
Where you can go long range. Yeah. You're picking at the hand, and then I thought those variations were incredible.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah, like that would be like that's Oh, I'm still looking at your videos, by the way.
Well, I tell you that. So yeah, so that Numerata, the Numerata series and the Sombrata series, right?
Hmm.
Pretty much what you see on there, it's not necessarily their material, but that's the influence of Dan Inosanto and Cass Magda on me.
Fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, I really enjoyed. I go back to it a few times. Like I really enjoyed because what you see, when you look at a typical Zimbrata on social media, you're seeing box, the 5 count, 3 count, and all that.
Right.
I've never seen anything like what you've done. Like you should put that on there.
Well, okay.
In my opinion.
So I could tell you right now. So let's say we have 4 or 5 Sombrata videos up. I could put up 50.
I bet.
I could put up 50. I have
Yeah.
enough material to put up 50, right?
I bet.
So that's part of the problem. Too much material.
Yeah, I know, but like maybe just one
Yeah.
like one thing where you're showing just a few of those variations where you go from long and all that.
And here's the thing, see? So here's the thing. One of the reasons why I put that stuff up is because I think that drilling, like Numerata, like Sombrata, they get they get the what do you call it? Sometimes some people run roughshod over that because it's like, oh well, that's not functional.
Yeah.
That I don't agree with that at all, right? Because look, in MMA, there are some fighters who drill and don't spar. Okay? In
Okay.
1982, Inosanto conducted the now infamous experiment where one of his academies sparred, the other academy drilled realistically, and then they had a competition. Guess what the result of the experiment was?
Yeah, I
Doesn't
can
make a
pretty much.
difference.
Really?
Doesn't make a difference.
So you're saying the guys who just drilled were able to
Yes.
handle them?
But now here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. So here's what in the old days, somebody who comes into my school and I'm introducing them to our training methodology, right?
Okay.
Okay, so here's what there are. There are solo drills and there are partner drills.
Sure.
Now, within those two sets, solo and partner, there are subsets. There are solo drills that you do in the air, aka shadow boxing.
Sure. Okay.
And there are solo drills that you do on the equipment.
Okay.
In the partner set, there are subsets. There are partner drills that are done with the equipment. And then there are partner drills that are done on each other.
Okay.
Right? So now, if we look now at the subset of partner drills done on each other, that's where now we look at subsets. So there are prearranged glove drills, we can call it.
Okay.
Right? Then you start looking at what aspect of the drill is prearranged. So maybe we know we start with such and such, but then the third thing, you don't know what's coming at you.
Okay.
You see? So so maybe we crash 1, 2, and then I'm coming at you.
Okay.
Right? You don't know what I'm coming with.
That I like the element of like there's a piece in there where you're not sure what and when and all that.
Exactly. Right? So there's prearranged and there's free arranged.
Okay, yeah. I remember you touching on that.
Yes.
Yep.
So I challenge anybody to go, oh, nobody will develop anything from that. Come on.
No, I'm with you on that. If there's an element of that, how could it not?
But it gets better, right? I know you got to go. So I'll tell you this quickly, right? So we prearrange the first 2.
Okay.
Now you don't know what I'm coming at in the third motion to you, but guess what?
you come back at me.
Right after.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, yeah. See that? Like, no, that I would enjoy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see?
I could definitely see. No, that I could see. Yeah, yeah.
That is pure Kali. It is what I called in the old days the art of adding one.
Adding one. There you go. I like that. Yeah,
Art
you're right. You start with
one.
yeah.
Okay?
Huh.
All right. I know you got to go teach. Thanks very much. I appreciate your doing this.
Oh my God, I appreciate you letting me do this. This was a lot of fun.
All right.
You know.
Cool.
All right, sir.
Have a good night, man. I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
All right. Take care.
All right. Right.
Okay, so episode number 3 of the FMA files. I hope you guys got something from that. So let me see. I don't have my notes here in front of me, so let me try to do stuff from memory, right? Feel free, like, share, comment, ask questions. I'll review everything after posting. Sign up for notifications for when we go live here on Facebook. And please subscribe over on the YouTube to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast channel, the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues channel, and now the FMA Files channel. And when you subscribe, please hit the notification bell so that when I put up the final edit video, you know that it's there. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods, and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. And I promise, Miguel, I will start putting more stuff up, right? After this weekend's Muay Thai seminar. What else? At ilovejeetkundo.com, the Quick Skills Series, Volume 1 is still available. We're reworking the store over at jkdrebel.com. And what else? Okay, coming up on Friday, September 20th. I have to confirm the time because I forgot that Ajahn Chai was doing his Muay Thai seminar, but Jeet Kune Do Dialogues episode number 89, I think it is, with Leo Fong, who goes back to the Oakland, California days with Bruce Lee. So look out for that JKD Dialogues episode. And I think that's it. All right, I'm trying to do that from memory. I hope I didn't mess up on anything. Thanks very much, guys, for hanging out with us. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. I'll see you soon.